putting on a bridle with a curb bit, it's important to remember that if your curb strap is permanently buckled on to your bit, that you get that curb strap off and away from them as you're putting it on. So you want to make sure you keep enough distance and slide that curb strap up and over their chin so that way they can get it on and it doesn't get stuck in their mouth. So I'm going to put my curb bit on the same way I put on my snaffle. I'm going to untie him. Now for this, because I don't want his halter on underneath, I'm going to loosen up my halter, drop it down over his nose, tie it back on his neck. This way I can catch him if he starts to walk away or go someplace, but I've still got a good enough freedom of his face that the halter's out of the way. Now with my reins, I can keep them over my shoulder, or I can take my reins and put them up on his neck, so that way he can hold them for me. Then I'm going to put my right hand up above the top of his head, grab the top of my bridle. Now I'm going to make sure that I push that curb strap away, slide my thumb right in the corner of his mouth and get him to open up. Slide the bit in, guiding that curb strap up and over, pushing that right ear forward, pushing that left ear forward. And then I always like to make sure that his mane and forelock are laying nice and pretty. I want to have my brow band land right underneath his ear and give it a little wiggle to make sure that we're nice and even with our bit. Then I'm also going to want to do up my throat latch strap. Again, you want to channel the 3 little bears, same as with your snaffle. You don't want it too snug and you don't want it too tight, just enough that it can't get past his cheeks. And always remember to put the tail of all of your leather back in its keepers. This keeps that leather from banging and flapping around on their face when you're riding, when they're walking, trotting, cantering. With the curb strap, we want to make sure that it's snug enough that it's going to be of use, but we want to make sure it's not too snug that when we pull those reins and engage them, that curb strap doesn't engage too soon. So we don't want it too tight or too loose. Again, you want to channel your 3 Goldilocks and the 3 little bears with the tightness of your curb strap. A good rule of thumb is if you can fit 2 fingers underneath their chin, between the curb strap and their chin upright, you've got a good spacing. You can also give a slight little touch on your reins and watch that curb strap to see when that curb strap engages underneath their chin in their chin groove. Depending on what you're doing during your riding, you might want to loosen it so it takes a little bit longer to engage. With my younger horses, I leave it just a smidge looser so that it takes a little bit longer. Once I've got them to the point where they're good in the snaffle, then I graduate them to the curb. The curb bit is never the first bit that I put in their mouth when I'm training. But once they're good on that snaffle and I'm ready to turn them into a bridle horse, I might keep it just a smidge loose to give them a little bit more chance to respond to me picking up that rein instead of that curb strap catching them and engaging right away. So 2 fingers straight up and down is a good rough estimate. Otherwise, take a look and just get a visual so that you can see how much you can touch those reins before that curb strap engages on your horse.